Sunday afternoon. Hey, live with Nai. I love it. This is my mom, y'all. And if you haven't watched with us in prior weeks, we go live every Sunday afternoon at this time. And it's Sunday. We thought Self-Care Sunday, it's the perfect time for you to be able to share with some of my mom's amazing wealth of knowledge that she has been amassing over the last several decades. I'm not going to give away how old either one of us is, but I'm proud of both of us for our health at this stage of our lives. And we want to bring some of these things to you. So I'm actually going to tag you, Mom, in this because I know there's people on your feed and we're just kind of navigating StreamYard, figuring out how this all works. So today, my mom has some fun stuff for you guys to go through, and she loves to give you handy little tips, and I'll let her explain more. Handy little tips that are her movement moments, which is her brand, and she will share with you some things you can do through your day to help you feel better and sort of maintain your physical health, and also it goes to your emotional health because you're not hurting as much, right, Mom? So tell us a little bit about you for those people who are just joining us for the first time, and what we're doing today.
Okay, hi everyone. Well, this is a lot of fun. Robin is responsible for my finally getting live. I hadn't done this before, but I've been interested in a long time on moving during the day and studying with some people who have talk a lot about how sedentary we are in our society. We all know this, but yet it's so easy to think that, well, I run once a day or I go to the gym, and so that's enough. But when you think about if you go to the gym for half an hour, an hour and a half, the entire rest of your day and rest of your week, you're mostly sitting. And because that's what we do. And now with being indoors so much and working from home and everything, it's even worse, as we all know. So it's hard to fit in things. Everybody's so busy. And so what I've figured out for myself, and I wanted to pass it along, is that there are so many little movements that one can do, and you can fit it in while you're doing something else. You can multitask, or as they call it, stack your life. So we've shown you a few already, and today I'd like to talk a little bit more. Last week we talked a little about balance. I'd like to talk about balance and what it does for us in strengthening our legs and our sides of our hips. And we have all day, every day, whenever we're anywhere, we have at our disposal this equipment, which is called our legs and our body. And so all you need to do is stand on one foot. Make sure I'll show you. So the first one I'd like to show you is basically when you're standing waiting for something, or standing in line, or brushing your teeth, or as we said last week, I do it a lot when I'm cooking. I'm on the counter, at a counter or a sink, and you just stand on one foot, which is, it takes some practice. Some people might have to, just keep putting the other foot down until they get used to it, but you'd be surprised at how fast your leg will strengthen. So what that's doing for you, if you can feel it, it's strengthening your entire leg, and it's particularly around in your hip and your butt, which is what you're not using when you're sitting all the time. So you make sure you do it on both sides. And then there are all sorts of other things that we can do that are standing up. You can raise and lower, put one foot behind the other and get up and down on your toes, which again, this is harder and you might want to hold on or something. But when you do all of these things, you just want to think about planting your foot firmly on the ground and pushing down, because that's what you're really doing. You don't want to lean over like that on one side or anything like that. You want to press right into the ground and be firm about it and use those muscles and engage all those muscles. So you do that. That's enough. If you just started doing this anytime you thought of it, like when you're brushing your teeth or when you're waiting for the microwave to ding, or all sorts of times, you'd be amazed at first of all, how much faster, how much better you would get at balancing. You can start to count. And as I said, make sure you do it on both sides equally. And the body is so amazing how it responds. And you really will feel the difference in when you're walking and when less stiffness and everything else, just from that very, very simple thing. So then if you want to progress a little bit more.
Let me just ask you and you have low back pain or your hip starts to hurt, or, I mean, how many of us sit for too long? I did it. I don't sit a lot, but every now and then I have projects that require me to sit. Today was one of them. And I had to sit for a couple hours and work on a spreadsheet. And I had to get up and move. Like the whole time I was sitting, I was thinking about how to sit and what to do with my head and make sure I was using the right muscles to support myself. But I had to get up, and my hips, and, I don't normally sit that much, but this is huge because, so many of us sit for too long. And then when we get up, if you're stiff and sore, right? So if you're watching, shoot up some hearts. Let us know that you can relate to this, because I know I, for one, can, for sure. I felt it today. So this is perfect timing. At least, for me, I'm going to implement more of these. I've been doing them at the sink, like we talked about last week. So sorry to interrupt. Keep going, Mom.
No, that's all right. I want you to, this is your show too. So the other thing is that realize how many times you're sitting when you don't really have to sit. People say, come in, sit down and let's talk about something. Well, I started this a long time ago by standing up at meetings. And at first, people look at me funny, but then there were other people who would start doing it because they were so tired of sitting down, and I would get in the back so I wouldn't bother people or be in anybody's way. But if you're in the house doing something like opening your mail or, I don't know, think of some other things, you don't have to sit down to do it. Folding laundry. I mean, lots of people sit down when they don't have to. So try to think of all the ways that you can stand up instead. And even if you're just standing and not standing on one leg, you're still much better off than if you're sitting. And when you have a long task, it's really great to get in the habit of breaking up, taking a break every 20 minutes, half hour, 45 minutes. Set a timer or something and get up and do some stretching and this kind of standing on one leg. And the other thing you can do is work up to putting your shoes and socks on without sitting down and without holding on. At first you can do it holding on, but it's much better than sitting down to do it. And so start with your socks, just put your socks on. If you live in the South and you don't wear socks, then when you put your sandals on, if you slip into your shoes, then that might not work. But for those of us who spend a lot of time in the winter dressing our feet, just do it standing up, and then do it without holding on. And then, you can get tremendous benefit from that. The other place is when you're getting dressed. So when you're putting your pants on, don't sit down and don't hold on to anything if possible, or work up to it. So those in themselves, if you think about these things and incorporate into your life, it does make a tremendous difference, both for your balance and for the strength of your legs. And we're meeting every week and we're giving a tip, and you're saying probably, oh my God, how am I going to remember every one of these things? So one thing you can do is pick one of these things that strikes your fancy and connect it to something that you do. This is how one builds habits, right? I mean, connect it to something that you do every day, often, preferably often, and do that, just that one for like 2-3 weeks. And before you know it, you'll think about doing it all the time. And then you add another one. You don't have to do all of these at once, but it really does pay off and make a huge difference. And you're not adding 1 second of extra time to your to-do list.
That's a big deal, because the single biggest thing, I mean, I know we're both personal trainers, but what I hear all the time at the gym or people who go to work out is time. That's a huge factor for people. Like, where do I fit this in? I do working out videos sometimes. I haven't done one in a while. I probably should. But tips for while you're doing chores or while you're carrying your groceries and exercises to actually strengthen. But this is key. What you just mentioned is the maintenance that we can do incorporated into everything else we're already doing. So that's huge, because I mean, if you're watching and you feel like time is a factor, right, then let us know. Shoot up some hearts, drop a comment. I can tell you, I feel guilty if I'm only doing one thing at a time. Like if I'm here, not multitasking, because we all know multitasking isn't good for our brain as far as like answering a message and trying to fix a spreadsheet, or talking on the phone and trying to do numbers.
But moving while you're doing something, that kind of yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It becomes a habit. So like sitting on a ball instead of a chair or a standing desk or things like that. There's so many ways to incorporate this. So
you'd be amazed, Robin, you said maintenance. It's more than maintenance. I mean, let's say you weigh 140 pounds and you stand on one leg, that one leg is holding twice the amount of weight that it normally holds. And sure, it's not like lifting weights with that leg, but on the other hand, if you do it, how many repetitions are you doing of that? You're doing light weights, many repetitions. You really are building strength and muscle.
Yeah.
And it's really quite remarkable how you do that.
Through the day.
Through the day.
That's
okay, want to see one more to do on one foot?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not so good at showing this from a distance. Maybe if I move this up, move away. No, that's worse. Sorry, here. Some of you might already know what this is. I see this. It's called a star pattern or ballerina, or where you just basically, again, push down with the leg you're standing on. You're going to bend your knee, and you don't want to bend your knee, in at all. You want to make sure you go straight over your legs, your foot, or out to the side, and you just tap. Can you see that, Robin?
Yep.
Tap, tap, and tap. And you can do it holding on at first too. And you just do that, and you do it on both sides. And this is not only is it good for your legs, it's good for your knees.
That's great.
It's and it's easy to fit in, connected to every time you talk on the phone or or to a particular person who you talk to a lot, or I don't know, think of somebody, got any other ideas of how to fit it in? Just maybe enter some suggestion for how to fit it in the comments.
Yeah, if you guys have to every day, like watch TV, wait for the mic, if you're cooking and you're waiting for the water to boil, you're making coffee and you're waiting for the coffee pot to finish. If you're cooking pasta and the timer's set for, set yourself. I don't set timers very often for food, but if you do, like if it's a 6-minute timer, how many things can you fit in 6 minutes, right? How many different things? Or if the microwave, you're waiting for popcorn in the microwave, it's like 1.5 minutes, or an ad on TV comes on, your favorite show, instead of rolling your eyes and sitting there like, oh, I'm going to change the channel, get up. And that time of the ad is usually 1 minute, 30 seconds, 1.5 minutes, whatever.
Yeah, that's good. Right. Or if you're waiting for your kid to come when you called them, you're downstairs and they're upstairs and you're saying, bring me that such and such. You have some time there.
Yeah. So exactly. Like things that you do every day. If you're waiting, waiting for something, waiting in line for something. And nowadays, we're not out and about as much, waiting near everybody as much. But, I do this in the airport. If you are traveling still, airports are great places for fitting these things in. But just think about something. And if you are having trouble figuring out where the downtime or the flex time is in your day, give us a shout. We'd be happy to brainstorm with you. All you would need to do is literally take a pen and paper or pencil and paper and write down what you're doing. Like do a time analysis, a time audit of yourself for one day. And you'll figure out a lot of things, but where your little moments are that you can do all these things, right? So you can do this stuff. Man, there's brushing your teeth. There's waiting for your kids to, like you said, finish eating, waiting, there's stuff in the kitchen. There's folding laundry. If you're doing,
there's also a point in between changing tasks. Whatever you're doing, we all have these little moments where we're saying, oh, I finished. Now what am I going to do? Well, a lot of times you just sort of stand. I do. Maybe nobody else does this, but you sort of stand there and you say, oh, I should do that. But then again, maybe I want to do that. And even though we have lists and everything else, there are those in-between moments where you're not doing anything. Throw in one of these movements and you'll feel better.
There's a lot of stuff written about Brendan. I really like him, but he talks a lot about that transition time and how you use it and how you prepare for the next process and the next project and shifting your brain. And these kind of things are great. Like I have started to do some of the things, that we talked about on the first week that we were on. And, instead of walking somewhere and you're checking your phone like this and you're down and you're looking, and you're not really doing anything, just put your phone.
It's not really that efficient to be checking your phone while you're walking at all.
No, but it does all the things that we talked about, right? Head forward and your next.
Right, exactly.
If you just take that time and put your phone away, and I notice I've consciously done that, because I was pretty bad about it before, I'll admit. So this is great. Like sitting is a silent one. Like we do so much sitting, and our hips and our hip flexors and our lower backs, pelvis. People have so much trouble in this area. I'm one of them that is, rehab is a real deal, right? And so these tips are super, super helpful and super simple, which is what I love. So thank you, Mom. This is fun.
Okay, please, if anybody has a certain problem area that they want to talk about, please let us know. And or if you have any questions about any of the things we talked about or any things we mentioned at all, let us know that too.
Right, exactly.
And thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We're going to jump off here, but it's just super fun. We're here every week. And so next week is actually we have Thanksgiving before. We'll be here on Sunday because it's the Sunday after Thanksgiving. So there's plenty of time.
Have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And thank you all so much for jumping on. If you know somebody who needs to hear this, please feel free to tag them or share it. And we will see you all next week.
Bye.